Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel, A Magical Life with Ayla Hillel. I'm Ayla, and today we are going to finish up with our last section of the Laws of Magic. So let's get started. So we've gone through the first two sets of the Laws of Magic. We broke them up into three pieces because the list was really long, and I think the video would have been closer to 2 hours for the list of the Laws of Magic had we left them the way they were. So now we are on the last six or seven of them, and some of these I'm not real sure about. I was looking at the list, and there's a few of them that I don't deal with, so I might have a little trouble explaining them, but I'm going to try to get through this for you. So let's get started. So the first law on the third section of our thing here is the law of falsehoods. Now, have you ever heard of that one? The law of falsehoods. This says it is possible for a concept or act to violate the truth patterns of a given personal universe and still be true, provided that it works in a specific situation. If it's a paradox, it's still probably true. This law is basically useless except to justify use of the above three laws without screwing things up in your version of the real world. Okay, so the first three, so that he's making reference to the last three. So pragmatism, the law of pragmatism, the law of infinite universe, and the law of personal universe. Okay, so this was the law of true falsehood. I'm not really sure what he's talking about there. Yeah, falsehood. The law of true falsehood. I'm going to put these down below in the description, just like I did the last two times. And if you have any insight on this, please write it in the comments below because I'm curious about it. The law of synthesis. Let's go on to the law of synthesis. The synthesis of two or more opposing patterns of data will produce a new pattern that will be truer than either of the first two were. Okay, so we kind of deal in this in magic, don't we? You know, we kind of take what we have, what we're dealing with, and combine it with other things, don't we? Okay, let me finish reading this. That is, it will be applicable to more levels of reality, and this new pattern may not be a compromise, but may be something rather new indeed. Okay, so I can't say that I've ever done this, and maybe I haven't, I just didn't know it was called the law of synthesis. But when you synthesize something, you take two things and you put it together and you create something new. So in magic, we kind of do this. You know, I don't know about taking two things, but we take a situation. We want a different situation, and that is what we focus on. So we come up with something completely new. The law of polarity. Let's talk about the law of polarity. Any pattern of data can be split into at least two opposing characteristics, and each will contain the essence of the other within itself. Okay, so I'm not really sure what this has to do with magic, but I know that when you're talking about the 3D reality, um, men have estrogen in them and women have some testosterone in them. So I think what they're talking about here is the yin and the yang. A polarity is really sort of opposites. So like every zodiac sign has a polarity. So my polarity, I'm a Libra, so my polarity is Aries. Oddly enough, my very bestest friend in the whole wide world is an Aries, so go figure. But maybe it's true what they say, opposites attract. Now, I'm still not really sure what the law of opposites have to do with magic, except I like what Abraham Hicks has to say about, we have a place where we don't want to be and we have a place where we do want to be. And it's okay to be in that place that you don't want to be, just long enough to figure out what you do want. So it's kind of useful. Maybe the law of opposites is useful as well. So the next one is called the law of dynamic balance. To survive, let alone become powerful, one must keep every aspect of one's universe in a state of dynamic balance with every other aspect. Extremism is dangerous, as the extreme being becomes so associated with extreme aspects that they lose the ability to avoid that aspect at all. This is another reason evil mages are rare, as continuous association with pain or death will cause a mage pain or death, ending the mage's ability to continue actively with evil. This is also why good mages, especially healers, tend to live a long time. Okay, so back up here at the beginning, he says, let's see, to survive, let alone become powerful, one must keep every aspect of one's universe in a state of dynamic balance with every other aspect in your life. Okay, now dynamic balance doesn't mean everything has to be perfectly balanced. When we are in a state of dynamism is motion. It's moving forward. It's getting stuff done. So if you are in a state of dynamic balance, you're constantly working on it, Every house of the zodiac has a theme. Libra's happens to be balance. And I can tell you firsthand from experience that we are not in a state of balance all the time. It doesn't mean we're good at it. What it means is that we are working on it all the time. As a magical being, you should be working on a state of balance. Your balance doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to be working on it. So if you're working a whole lot, when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm such a workaholic," that is nothing to brag about. I'm sorry. Because if you're a workaholic, you're out of balance. Oh, I'm unemployed, I haven't worked, or I don't do anything, I just kind of kick around the house all day. You're out of balance. If work and play has to be in balance. If you have a concentrated thing, I'm a writer, and so it's very easy for me to get out of balance with my writing because the story is moving around in my head, and I want to sit down and I just want to spend hours and hours and hours writing it, which is fine if I spend the next hours and hours and hours doing something fun or going and talking to my family or visiting with a friend. So you don't ever in your creation of your magical energy, don't ever think that something has to be absolutely perfect. for two reasons. Number one, because it's never going to be absolutely perfect. That's what life in this three-dimensional reality is about. It's about learning to balance. And then the other thing about trying to make things perfect is you will drive yourself crazy and you will lose your focus if you are focusing on making something, particularly balance, perfect in your life. Okay? It's a dynamic movement. It's something that we're constantly and feel your body when you're working on balance. Feel your body. When I write too much, I can feel that energy. You know, I've been running this energy out of my head into my fingertips, out onto the keyboard for hours. I need to get up and go do something else. You know, go for a walk or like I said, visit with family or friends. Okay, so that is the law of dynamic balance. The law of perseverity, sometimes known as Murphy's Law. You know Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law does not exist in my reality. Murphy's Law says anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Horseshit. I am a magical being. I am a powerful magical being. And I say what happens in my reality. Sometimes known as Murphy's Law, if anything can go wrong, it will, and in the most annoying manner possible. Magical association sometimes operates in the reverse of what we desire, and meaningful coincidences are just as likely to be unpleasant as pleasant. Okay, meaningful coincidences. Even if nothing can go wrong, some element of the universe may change so that things will go wrong anyway. This sounds very fatalistic to me. Whether we like it or not, the gods or fate or what have you do have a sense of humor. Emotionally healthy mages have less problem with this law than others do, as the mage's own subconscious mind is probably a major perpetrator of this law. Okay, so here's what I noticed in the early days of my practice. This law was true in the early days of my practice. As I was learning how to practice magic, as I was learning about myself, as I was learning to love myself, as I was gathering up the energy that would later become the powerful energy of Ayla, I noticed in the beginning days of all of that things sometimes went wrong. You know, I would work a piece of magic, and I'll give you an example. I worked a piece of magic because we needed a sofa, and what showed up was atrocious. It was atrocious, and the person came and brought it and put it in my backyard, and I was standing there, and I was looking at this sofa, and I was thinking, man, something is definitely wrong with my magic. And I don't think now that I'm older, I mean, this was 20 years ago, I don't think now something's wrong with my magic. I think what it was that I just wasn't developed enough. I didn't know how to ask for what I wanted. I didn't know how to create what I was trying to create. Okay, I don't know if that's helpful. But I stayed with it. So the next sofa that showed up was brand new. It was wood, outlined in wood, and the whole thing was very bohemian looking. It was just absolutely beautiful. It looked like something out of somebody's garden. Very fluffy and comfortable, and exactly what I wanted, really. But it took me 2 tries. Okay, so the next law, and this is our last law, is the law of unity. Now, this law is going to be tied up a little bit with the law of entanglement what did they call it on here? Association. The law of association, similarity, and contagion. And the law of unity is kind of a cousin to all of that. Every phenomenon in existence is linked directly or indirectly to every other one, past, present, and future. Perceived separation between phenomenon are based on incomplete sensing and or understanding. Okay, so the Norse have a way of looking at things that the way you change the future is by changing your current present situation. So if you want to change your future, make decisions based on what's happening right here. Your present current situation was changed because of the decisions that you made back then behind you. So this is an interesting thought. I mean, when you stop and think about it, you think, well, duh, any decision I make is going to affect my future. But they kind of, the way the Norse look at it, and I've kind of got this feeling from studying the runes that they kind of take themselves out of the present situation and put themselves in the future situation and really look at, when we make a decision in our current situation, we can only imagine how that decision's going to turn out. So, but what they do is it's like they put themselves there. They put themselves in the future, and it's like they're looking at the outcome of that situation. It's kind of strange to explain, and it's something that I have felt. I don't really know how to explain it, but in magic, it's like we never come from a place of lack. You never want to come from a place of lack. You never want to say, I want money. So your thought is that you already have money. The Abrahams say that every human being has a universal portion of money. It's theirs. Okay, so it's there. We just have to do what we have to do to get it out of that vortex place and into our reality. So we don't, because we know it's there, we don't say, I want money or I need money, because you have it. Okay, so that's the thought. And then the words are that we're already there. We are already living that wealthy, prosperous life. And then the actions is to go forth and to create a day based on that thought. So these are all decisions. These are all this idea of unity, this idea that everything that we think, say, and do, every decision that we have ever made, every piece of magic is connected to the other piece of magic. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. So, it's not a law that you actually use. It's most of these laws are having to do with just having the knowledge of the law. Some of them have practices with them. So let's go back over this really quick. So the laws of magic is the laws of knowledge. So figure out how you're going to get your knowledge and do it. Read a book, go to a class, whatever. The laws of self-knowledge. Okay, self-knowledge, remember we said self-knowledge was tied into self-love. And self-love being one of the hardest concepts for us to get our mind and our heart wrapped around. Cause and effect. Okay, they taught us this in science class. Well, in magic, it's true as well that we have a cause and effect in magic. Synchronicities. So things have a tendency to show up at the same time. It looks like a coincidence, but it's not. Association. So the vibration of associative patterns is kind of like, if you have the thought and the words and the deeds of something you're trying to create in your life, that's an association. The laws of similarity, there again, if we identify with something, if we identify with something that we're trying to create in our life, then that creates an energy pattern. The law of contagion, okay, so objects or beings in physical contact with each other continue to interact after separation. Okay, the laws of contagion. This is where quantum physics talks about entanglement. Okay, and this is why contagion or entanglement is why that we are able, and unity is why we are able to hold a space, to take someone in and hold a space for them while they heal themselves. The laws of names, so names have vibrations. This is why in many groups, when I converted to Judaism, I was asked if I wanted to take a different name. And I did. I took Ayla because the vibration of the name Ayla was different than the vibration of the name that I was given at birth. Okay, so the laws of words of power, so incantations, conversations, the words that you speak to yourself, your self-talk, these are all vibrational. Make sure that all of your words are high vibrational. Okay, this is hard if you have somebody in your life who wants to argue with you all the time. That's really difficult. The law of invocation. Remember the difference I told you between invocation and evocation? So invocation is where we take the entity, being, God or goddess, whatever it is, in to ourselves. Okay. And that's not a happenstance sort of thing. It's not like, Isis is going to jump into you and then you're going to have trouble getting rid of her. That doesn't happen without a great deal of discussion and ceremony and understanding that this is going to end, this agreement is going to end at some point. Evocation is not taking them in, it's calling them to you. We do this during ritual when we invite the gods and goddesses, when we invite the corners, and when we invite the elements. We always take a moment in the Rowan Tree. We always take a moment and let everybody call their benevolent beings into the circle with us. So the law of identification, this again has to do with association. So getting to know that personality, getting to know whatever that being is, and then having your own identification, having your own personality and your own being. The law of personal universe. So I am not the center of the universe. I am the center of my universe. You better be the center of your universe. Okay, that's really important. The law of infinite universes, that this idea that we have multiple realities running at the same time. Okay, it's a thought. It's not something I've ever been horribly hung up on because my consciousness is in this reality right here until I choose to change it. And then pragmatism, which I really got hung up on, a pattern of belief or behavior enabling a being to survive and to accomplish chosen goals. Okay, whatever. The law of true falsehoods, the law of synthesis, so bringing things together, the law of polarity, so opposites attract, the law of opposites, the law of dynamic balance. There again, don't get hung up on trying to make things perfect. Just always be working for some balance. You work real hard, you need to rest. It's as simple as that. The law of perseverity. Stick with it. When that first sofa showed up, I could have been like, okay, that's it. I got crazy magic. But kind of had a feeling that magic is like a lot of other things. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And then the law of unity. Now, the law of unity is talking about you know, let's see here. Exists linked directly or indirectly to every other. Yeah. Okay. So another aspect of the law of unity is how we are all linked. We are all one. Um, this really is a vibrationally magical concept. The law. I wouldn't call it the law of unity. I'd call it the law of one. That we are all one. All of us human beings are made from the same genetic God goo, divine DNA, whatever you want to call it, the essence, the energy, that is source energy. That is what we are made out of. Varying vibrations of that. Um, so to look at another person and be like, oh, well, I don't like them because of their skin color, or I don't like them because of their religion, or I don't like them because of the country they were born in. Magically, that is ridiculous. Because we are all one. We are all made from the same genetic, divine material. That energy, that is source energy, that is what we are made out of. So, and when you stop and really think about that, when you stop and really think about being made out of divine energy, what does that say about your magic? It has a lot to say about your magic, doesn't it? We have all rights and privileges that source energy has. Not to the degree that source energy has it, but in our own universe. Remember our own universe the laws of magic was talking about? You are the center of your world. You have your own world. You have your own universe. And in that universe, you are all powerful. You have the same job that source energy has. Source energy's job is to create. Your job is to what? Create. And why do we create? We create out of love, don't we? So that's a cool thought. The more you think about the fact that you are source energy, the more it will start to dawn on you, and it will start to deepen inside of you, and it will start to take over. And in that place of realizing your godhood, you will fall in love with yourself. You will fall in love with your magic. Your magic will become very powerful at that point. Because in that place, I believe, of source energy godhood, we start to realize what our relationship is to other human beings, to the animals, to the planet. You know, source energy created all of this and created each of us. We have the power to create the energy that cares and takes care of everything around us. So this is the basis of my magic. And I'm hoping with this channel, I really want to inspire people. First of all, to heal. To heal. I mean, it's not a healthy place to be in a place of illness, particularly when you have the power to start working towards that healing. And I'm not talking about medicine. Medicine is something completely different. I'm talking about creating a vibration that begins to heal your body. Stop and ask yourself, how far can you go with that vibration? How far can you go? How far can you change your beliefs into knowledge and create that vibration with that knowledge that you are a healthy, functioning, powerfully magical human being? So that's my first thought for this channel, is to inspire people towards their own healing. But there's a lot of little steps along the way. If we can fall in love with ourselves, if we fall in love with ourselves, we fall in love with humanity. If we fall in love with ourselves, we fall in love with the animals. The animals are a big deal on this planet. You know, I have cats, and I'm a cat and a dog person. So I love all animals. I like goats and I like chickens too. When I get moved, my plan is to have goats and chickens because I just love goats. They're a handful, but I love them. And a lot of, we have to remember that a lot of how we feel about the world around us is how we feel about ourselves. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. We are done with the laws of magic, and some of them I understand, some of them I don't understand. It's not necessary. Do you know how to work your own magic? That's the question. Um, so I will leave you today with that, and on Wednesday we are going to start something completely new. So have an awesome day. Blessed be.